my fellow weirdos, it's me. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? How you doing? I'm okay. I'm getting there. But I did manage to read a book, so yay! Round of applause for me. Because today we will be reviewing the latest Stephen King. Later, you'll have seen this all over your Instagram feed. This book was literally everywhere for the past few weeks. Took me a little longer than most to read it because of, my reading slump. But we got there in the end, and that's all that matters. So what is it about? Well, it is about a young boy called Jamie who has a very unique ability. He can see and speak to the dead. Something he discovered when he came across an accident where a cyclist, God love him, basically had his head pop like a balloon, and he was able to see and even wave and interact with that particular person. And since then, he's realized he can see the dead. Sometimes you can't really tell because, they died in a way that they look like everybody else. But the dead know he can see them, they interact with him, and what is a great advantage is that they cannot lie. So Jamie is able to interact with the dead, and it's just him living his life with his mother, who is an editor for a very small publisher firm that was run by herself and her brother. Her brother, unfortunately, now has Alzheimer's and is in a home. And after the financial collapse, they're kind of scraping to get by. And the mother asks Jamie, with the help of her current girlfriend, who is a police detective, to go and visit the author who has just died before his final book could be finished. And she wants Jamie to ask him what was going to happen, dictate it back to her so she can write it and they can make ends meet. And this is where the police officer, who the mother is dating, realizes that Jamie has this gift, and this comes to play down the line. So that's the kind of setup for us. The police detective is dumped by the mother eventually when the mother realizes that she's a dirty cop and brings drugs into the house. And Jamie doesn't see her for a very long time, but she shows up one day because there has been a bomber wreaking havoc in the city by the name of Thumper, and he has been found out, but he shot himself before the police could get to him. And pinned to his chest was a note saying that there was one more bomb, and she wants his help to find the bomb, not really because she's going to save lives, that's a kind of added bonus, but more because she's trying to save her job. She's a dirty cop, she knows they're closing in, and this is a way for her to try and kind of keep that foothold within the police department. So he reluctantly helps her, and this is where he meets something that's different than the others. This ghost doesn't go away. This ghost stays with him. But it's not the ghost, it's not the soul of the bomber that stays with him. It is something inside it, something that is possessing him, like something has possessed a dead person, and this continues to visit him and terrifies him. We discover throughout the book, spoiler alert, that it is actually a deadlight within that has possessed this soul's body, for want of a better word, possessed the soul's form. Possibly because he was such a bad guy, this demon dark light thing was able to get inside, but that's what we discover. So Jamie becomes a teenager, and the police officer shows up again. At this time, she's not a police officer anymore. She has been kicked off the force, and she's a full-blown drug addict. And she has a local drug dealer who's just died. She wants Jamie's help to try to find his stash so that she can kind of get rich and get clean. That's her idea. And she basically kidnaps Jamie and takes her with them. And that's where we have the finale of the book, in this drug dealer's house. The deadlight thing, Jamie is able to do a kind of duel with it. They bring up the same ritual from It, where you like link tongues and you kind of out-best each other with your verbal assaults or whatever. But in this one, he literally grabs hold of this thing and won't let it go, because this thing's afraid of Jamie, because Jamie can see and he's never encountered this before. So he kind of gets it to be his bitch and be like, when I want you, you come. And that's what the deadlight agrees to do. And that comes in very handy at the finale when Jamie's in danger. So that's kind of like the book very quickly summed up. What did I think of it? Well, it's Stephen King at its finest, Yes, it does have horror elements, but it leans more towards the sort of crime side of things. I know not a lot of people are keen on Stephen King going into the crime era. I personally think that he's a great crime writer and a great horror writer, so a book like this, which kind of combines the two, it works really well. It's classic Stephen King. If you're a fan, you're going to like it. I really enjoyed it. Was it perfect? No. I have to mark it down for a couple of reasons. First of all, the finale at the end wow, it really, it ends really abruptly. Like, there's a lot of build-up, there's a lot happening, there's people getting shot, there's dead people talking to Jamie's, trying to find out where this is. They find other things about the drug dealer that nobody knew about. Lots of stuff kind of coming to a head, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then it's just kind of like, boop, over. And I was like, what? What? So then I thought, okay, the bit with the police officer's over, that bit's over, but the deadlight's going to come back into it, because we need to find out more about this thing. Because in order to save his life, Jamie has to call on the deadlight, because the police officer's gone a bit woohoo at this point. And, ex-police officer, I should say, at this stage. And he calls on the deadlight to save him, which does work, but he then has to sort of send the deadlight away. The deadlight's kind of desperate for a rematch with him because it knows it can win this time. It's not going to be a surprise. But he's just like, nah, you're all right. Don't want a rematch, off you pop. And the deadlight has to leave. But it will always be with him. This thing is always there. But you never find anything more about it. You never find out, like, why it's here, what it's doing. Why is it inside a dead person? Like, why is it possessing a dead person? Can it possess living people? Why choose a dead person? And why that particular dead person? Was it because he was a bad guy? And is there going to be repercussions for Jamie later with this thing? Or, you know, why is this thing adhering to its word? It's all very, like, strange. You just never get anything about the deadlight. It's like there at the start, and then it's there in the end, and then it's like, okay, cheery bye-byes, and it goes. And you're just like, oh, okay. Like, it was at the point where I could see there was still a bit of pages left, and I was like, okay, they're going to bring the deadlight in for, like, another quick bit here. No, I kept reading, and there was nothing more about it. And then it just kind of wraps everything up really quickly. You know, at the end of, like, a season of a show, particularly if they know there's not going to be any more shows, they kind of just are quickly like, wrap it up, wrap. That's what it felt like. Like, it just felt very quickly pulling everything together, getting everything sorted, neat pile done, boop, boop. And I was just like a little, I would have preferred maybe, I think another couple of chapters, I think, to draw out that particular finale and the conclusion, and maybe get a little bit more about the deadlight, the thing inside Thumper, the bomber. That would have been, I think it's necessary, you know. Stephen King with his endings, we know what it's like every now and then. Every book he has, you're loving it, and then you get to the ending and you're like, what? Really? Oh, okay. This is another prime example of that. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst example of it. It's still a really good book. But it did feel very abrupt and very just sort of like almost like he'd lost interest in writing the book anymore. And he was like, I'm done with this now. Blah, 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 done. The end. So, yeah, it just was a bit rushed for me. On top of that, there's a reveal at the end of the book. And I don't know why. The reveal has nothing to do with the deadlight or the ghosts or Jamie's abilities. It's just a reveal about him and his family, and there's no reason for it. No reason for it whatsoever. It adds nothing. It contributes nothing. It's just there, and you're like, okay. I don't know why. It honestly felt so pointless to stick it in. It contributed nothing to the book. But okay, it's there, you know. Saying that, apart from those two issues, it's a really good read. You know, as I say, it's Stephen King at his finest. You've got a kid who can see dead people, you've got ghosts, you've got a dangerous police officer dragging this young boy who's trying to live a normal life, but also getting to grips with his abilities, into this seedy crime underworld where he's under severe threat. And then you have this ominous deadlight presence as well. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was a great read. It's an easy read. It's a quick read for most people if you're not going through like an incapable of getting out of reading slump like me. But it's not like one of Stephen King's thumpers that you could beat someone to death with. It's, you know, it's a quick, easy read. I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to have to give it a solid 4 out of 5 for me. I am going to have to mark down because of the ending and because of the pointless reveal. It just all was a bit bleh for me. That's my technical review. This noise, this meh. That's what the ending like. But anyway, guys, have you read it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with my criticisms, but also my praise. Would you also give it the same score? I love to hear you guys' opinions. And if you have anything to recommend to me book-wise or to get out of a reading slump, I would love your tips. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. It would mean the world to me if you could. And like, comment, do all that jazz so we can get in touch. But that's me for now. Bye.